I think with this disruptive technology, we're starting to see signs of that, is that new trends are emerging, new names. And I think you want to look at that with names and sectors and positions in the portfolio and say, all right, is this going to benefit from AI? But the flip side of it is this have AI risk? Is this going to be a Terminator 2 rise of the machines where you get taken out? This is the Realize Your Wealth podcast by Aretec Wealth. We want you to be wealthy. We want you to feel wealthy. We want you to realize your wealth. All right, here we go. We're back. It's Friday. Another mixed, another volatile week in the market. Since we hit the end of January, we've been in much more of a risk-off environment, so it's keeping things interesting. But we're holding in there. We're doing okay. How you doing over there, Greg? What's going on? What's happening today?
Yeah, it's good to see you here, Will, and that you survived the first hockey tournament. I think that was just last weekend, but I know between last week and now there's been power skating, games, practices. So it's good to see you here. You look good. You survived.
Trying. I think it lost my voice. Tournament took a lot out of me. My fire alarm went off at 4 a.m. and woke everybody up, and the elevators flooded. Stuff like that. Good fun in Niagara Falls, but no, it was his first travel hockey tournament. Our first travel hockey tournament, so it was good times. We didn't win anything, but we won one game. That's okay. 1-1, lost 2, but it was a good time and good fun.
As you're telling me, and as I'm learning kind of through you at this age, it's not about winning and losing. It's about the development, right? You got the games and practices, but it's about the power skate and the camp, the work before and after the games and practices. So the score doesn't really matter.
Working on it. About fun. I think they want him to have fun, and yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see him come along and develop and enjoy themselves. But no, it's been good. It's been positive. But that's my part-time job right now is hockey dad, hockey coach. So it's all good though, and good fun. But anyways, yeah, we wanted to dive into things just because we have new themes developing in the markets. I think everyone's trying to make sense of it. All investors, market participants, kind of what's going on out there. The market's up, down, sideways. I mean, as of now, we're still up a few percent on the year, which is pretty good. Markets are certainly off the highs that we saw just a couple weeks ago after the hot start in January. There's some new themes developing, some new ideas that are starting to come to the forefront and impact markets. So we wanted to dive into that, just talk about what's going on, or our thinking about that, and just unpack things from there.
Yeah, maybe a good word to use for the market so far this year is just like choppy, because you get a couple days where they're moving up, and then a couple days where they're moving back, but they're kind of staying in this band. One of the themes that's developing, I think a reason for a lot of this kind of choppiness or volatility is just what's going on. I mean, we talked a little bit about software stocks, but what's going on with that whole AI theme, and we're kind of starting to see some trends and themes develop with that.
Yeah, and I mean, my term that I've come up for it is the rise of the machine. So I think that's Terminator 2, rise of the machine. So I think what everybody thought was going to happen is that AI companies that had run up, had incredible valuations, had done really well, were going to come crashing down, and that hasn't quite happened. And usually there's just sort of how markets go. What everybody thinks is going to happen, whatever he's talking about, doesn't happen. But now we're seeing almost like a backdoor way of that, is that companies that are being hurt, or I used the term before, if AI is eating your lunch or taking over your business, are basically just eliminating your business, or at risk of that, or seen as at risk of that. Your stock is getting crushed, and we've seen that, or really under pressure, to say the least. And we've seen that across a lot of names so far in 2026. You're no longer seen as missing out on AI and maybe not getting the performance, but you're seen as at risk from AI just obliterating your business and your business model. And I mean, AI is an incredibly disruptive technology. So that's a new theme that we're seeing play out, is this idea that AI cyborgs are going to come and just eliminate jobs, eliminate companies. And I think it reminds me. Look, no two markets are the same, but I've felt for a while, even last year, felt a little bit, had some COVID-esque feelings. I also feel this year has a feel to the similar market pattern and the recovery, that you're starting to see winners and losers emerge. And just like you did in COVID, there was new trends that, if businesses were benefiting from the new trends and the stay at home and things like, businesses like Amazon, or like just everything, like,
Zoom,
oh
Peloton.
yeah, right. And they surged, but in the same time, you saw like office buildings got absolutely beat up in most REITs, but residential real estate surged in a lot of areas, but office and retail really struggled and have that COVID drag. I think with this disrupted technology, we're starting to see signs that new trends are emerging, new names, and I think you want to look at that with names and sectors and positions in the portfolio and say, all right, is this going to benefit from AI? But the flip side of it is this have AI risk? Is this going to be a Terminator 2 rise of the machines, where you get taken out? And it's kind of scary in some ways, but not really much we could do about it. It's the reality of where things are going now, and you're seeing a lot of names, a lot of positions come under pressure. Software is one of the big areas, especially software as a service. You've seen, for the most part, although there's volatility across the whole market, software has gotten really beat up, but areas like semiconductors, which we own more of, those names have actually done quite well, because they're the hardware, they're the chips, they're the infrastructure that's right in the middle of the thing, powering all the AI. But I think a lot of people, a lot of investors are feeling that whatever their business used to do, AI can do it better, which is disruptive, scary, and is moving markets for sure.
Well, the interesting thing as well is, like, we've talked about AI for such a long time, and it was always kind of confined to the tech space, and in particular the large players. But kind of to your point, we're seeing the theme broaden out, where it's now no longer just tech names. We were talking about Walmart has done exceptionally well this year because they've adopted AI. So it's no longer just kind of those large, 5 or 7 tech names. It's really broadening out to the whole market at this point.
Yeah, and so then there's another way to look at it, is exactly, is your business adopting AI? And I think there's businesses that are really well suited and have been at the forefront and are big leaders in that and are doing a really good job of adopting AI to grow and get on top of that. And I think the companies that are seen as being anti AI, and there's a couple that we saw it. It's probably a little bit overdone, and they're names that we had owned across the model in the past. So like Constellation Software, Thomson Reuters are two pretty specific Canadian examples. And Constellation had its own challenges because they lost their CEO, who was sort of seen as their Warren Buffett. Buffett left, and that was the first leg down on the stock. But they were kind of anti-AI, software as a service, kind of old-fashioned technology, tech names. That's been I think the stock's down 50% or more. And then Thomson Reuters is another one which we had and we sold. It's down big, and it's the same ideas that their services, legal services, that piece of it is just, there's AI businesses that are just multiplying now. The data, the information they provided, AI companies can do that faster, better, cheaper, all those things. And so it's a real risk. And look, when you look at those stocks, they are extremely oversold. It's probably overdone in the short term. And I'm not saying jump in and buy, but I'm also not saying sell those when they're down. It's just to explain this is what's going on, and this is the new trend. And when we're seeing, all right, what's driving the leadership, what's on the forefront, it's names that are either immune from that stuff, and you saw that in COVID, right? Businesses that were, say, COVID immune, or were benefiting from it, and the businesses that are hurt by it get slammed and stuck in the mud. So, I mean, in terms of our strategy, that's probably one of these newer emerging themes. Might be a theory at this point, but I think if you look at how markets are going, I think it's probably more a reality of what's happening. It just gives an explanation or makes some sense as to why things are going up and why things are going down, and why markets are diverging.
Yeah, to your point about comparing this, obviously no two markets are the same, but comparing this to COVID, Would you say with that theme or theory, like we're just seeing the reason we're seeing a lot of volatility is just because we're seeing a little bit of a repricing where companies and names are just basically getting repriced based on the fact if they're adopting AI or not?
Well, I think that's part of it, right? Thomson, I don't know the exact valuations on them, but Thomson Reuters and Constellation as examples traded at rich multiples and premiums and were seen as these big growth businesses. But it's tough to trade businesses up when they're have this massive competitive headwind from AI. And if they haven't fully adopted it or embraced it and it's seen as helping their businesses, that's trouble. But I mean, some of these businesses like Walmart or like a Loblaws or something like that is an old fashioned business. I'm not an expert on how these companies are adopting AI, but it's just more to give some rationale as that old fashioned business like groceries, pretty old fashioned business. They're doing well because all right, if they can improve all sorts of things, their supply chain, how they inventory, like I'm sure grocery business has incredibly complex things that if you adopt AI or just whatever it is, it's going to thrive. And so what are traditionally seen as low growth businesses, AI just creates efficiencies there, allows them to cut costs, reduce expenses, overhead, which means those businesses get repriced. Whereas companies that are seen as having lost business or this is going to be a major challenge or major competitive headwind, that's an issue. And so, I mean, it's complex to digest it, but you can almost look at probably every company, every sector, every market as being impacted by AI, which is why I say rise of the machines. I don't
Yeah.
know if I can trademark that one because that's a Terminator movie, but it's my way of thinking about it.
No, it's a good way to think about it. I think a lot of people will remember that. So that's good. One question, just as it relates to our portfolio and kind of this theme that's developing, how are we viewing this? And maybe talk a little bit about how we're thinking about all this as it relates to our clients and our portfolio.
I mean, I think it's just a paradigm that we want to look at things, and it's not necessarily bad or good. It's just the reality of what it is. So we're seeing trends that are developing, that are emerging around this, that there's new companies and new businesses that are benefiting from this, and we're seeing it emerge that there's new companies or companies that are being hurt by this. So if anything, it's just a new lens, different sort of paradigm to look at it. I don't think it's necessarily just, well, is this an AI bubble? I mean, that's part of the story. That's more what we talked about last year. Is this bubble going to burst at this point? It's similar to like companies, if companies got on and adopted the internet and adopted different forms of technology, it's the next leg of growth. So like there's risk to the market. There's still risk from the AI bubble. There's also risk from the rise of machines that your whole business is going to get taken out and our way of life as we know it is eviscerated. I mean, that's probably a little bit extreme way to view it. At the same time, the way some of the talk around AI is, oh, this is going to be the golden age where AI is going to create massive growth across the economy and every global economy is growing at like 10% annually. That's probably a little bit excessive, but there's a case to be made that this is an incredibly disruptive technology. It's creative destruction. It's ultimately going to drive economic growth, but it also means there's economic pain that's created by it. So I think the way I would look at it is just sort of a lens, a framework, and just say, even when you look at going buying individual stocks or companies or going into sectors and subsectors, this is like, is AI going to attack this business? Is AI going to help it? And so you can play AI without necessarily and be invested in without necessarily going and buying some speculative AI type of company, because it's a lot of big, well-known, established companies that are just saying, let's adopt this, let's integrate it, let's build. And the ones who are refusing to do that, at least what the market's telling us, which when we do technical analysis, relative strength work, we'll listen to the market and say, okay, what are you telling us? It's telling us, okay, if you're not AI ready, you're going to be in trouble here.
Well, to use an example, so Thomson Reuters, you brought up earlier, that's a name that has been so good for so long. We've had it in the portfolio since 2018, 2019. It hit all-time highs kind of mid last year. I think it got well above $200. And then we started to pick up that it was showing some weakness when we're kind of looking at it from a technical lens. We moved off of it, and then the stock has kind of plummeted since then. So point is, with this new theme, there's going to be distinct winners and losers. And, if a name was good for a long time, if it's not keeping up with what's going on now, it's going to get punished, which we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, Thompson had a premium valuation, and you could have held it for the last 5 or 10 years and been compounding at an incredible rate, and was just seen as a very stable Canadian dividend payer, no issues, no risks, until I think it was Claude or something, like some AI company released some software. But the other thing that's happening here is the speed that these are coming out. You can't even keep track of it, right? There's all sorts of new AI developments that are happening, and it's almost every day you hear about something new. I mean, look, this has happened many times through history when you look at incredibly disruptive technologies that end up ultimately creating a ton of growth. But I do think this is one that you want to be on the right side of. But I mean, when you think of Rise of the Machines, there's risk here, right? It's very interesting. This is probably something that's going to be debated for years and years. And there's some people who think that AI is going to be the end of the economy and civilization as we know it, as we see in the Terminator movie. Everyone should watch that.
That's the homework for the weekend. Go home and watch.
Go watch T2. I haven't seen it in a long time, but anyways, that's the idea. The machines take over. You've got a new world. You've got a new society. I think that kind of doomsday thinking is a little bit much. I mean, look, the internet's disruptive. No one uses the yellow pages anymore. Every technology is just disruptive, and it's just how it is. And I think it's something that you want to be on the right side of. I think one of the differences from COVID is it was kind of exogenous. It was coming from the outside, and eventually it went away, and people's habits, yes, they changed, but they also reverted back. I mean, AI, I think it's going to be different. So think of that as just a paradigm, a lens, a theme to look at the markets, maybe make sense of what's going on, is that AI can help, AI can hurt. And it's not just, oh, is this an AI bubble, or are these tech companies overvalued? It's that, is AI helping you? Is it hurting you? Is this the rise of machines? Is this the golden era of AI? The reality is it's somewhere in between, but just something we wanted to talk about, shed some light on, trying to make sense of what's going on out there in the market. But if nothing else, with all this AI stuff, it's interesting times, to say the least.
Yeah, it's interesting times. Just to wrap up here, Will, like, it's been a good start to the year. It's been a little choppier, a little volatile, but still a good start overall. What would you say to just kind of investors as we move through what's generally a little bit more of a bumpier time?
Oh, just stay the course. We're on top of this. We're looking at this. We're thinking about this, managing this, making shifts and adjustments, governing the portfolio accordingly. So I think it's a market environment where, regardless, especially over the long run, we're going to come out on top, and we're in good shape. In spite of a little bit more volatility here, we're moving in the right direction, which is a good thing. And at the end of the day, regardless of what the machines do, we want you to be wealthy. We want you to feel wealthy. We want you to realize your wealth. That's what we're all about. That's what Aretec Wealth is all about. So we'll be back with everybody next week. Thanks.